Yes, people living next door to the former RAF Scampton near Lincoln say that their health and their finances have been affected by the uncertainty over the future of the site. The local council is taking legal action against the government's plan to house 2,000 asylum seekers there. Well, the plan risks jeopardising a multi-million-pound regeneration deal for the site. Residents have been waiting a year for a resolution, and as Joe Makel reports, it's taken its toll.
That's one of the camps, that's Gate 8. And there's Scampton.
The protest camps have become a fixture on the A15. But while they all called for an end to the Scampton asylum plan, they've operated somewhat separately.
I came up in December to try and unite everyone, all the different camps, get them working together, but that didn't quite happen. But now the people that were here have left.
Sarah's been a regular face of the Save Our Scampton campaign, but for months she stayed away from the main gate. Her focus was on levelling up and heritage as well as the community, but the protest attracted a huge mix of people, some with hardline views.
Help or hindrance to have, people who had a strong sort of anti-immigration message standing up for Scampton?
Yeah, I think some help in regards if they had people here sort of 24/7 for a long time, but hindrance in the fact that locals didn't feel safe to come and support.
Sarah says she and others have suffered abuse and even a physical attack. That's in the hands of the police. But she says her campaign is not finished.
We will carry on until the bitter end. If it takes a year, if it takes 2 years, we'll still fight it.
Hi, Rachel.
Hi, Joe. Come on in.
For others, though, the tension at the gates was too much. Last summer, Rachel, Mandy and Sue were regulars.
The clowns, the cowboys, and we had the scientists, all referring to the government. Not racialist, nothing like that. It was just that they had the £300 million project, which would be ideal for this area.
It was something we'd all been waiting for like 4 years.
Did you feel your voices were getting lost then?
Absolutely.
Yes, yeah. That we even got off the main gate and went to gate 8 because we felt a bit intimidated, didn't we?
And with no asylum seekers yet moving in.
Do you feel kind of still in limbo, I guess?
Yes,
Because
yeah, exactly.
Is that the best word?
Yeah, that's it, yes.
It almost feels like you're no further forward from when they made the announcement.
Yeah.
The old RAF houses, many now privately owned, are right next door to the base. There are lots of signs of normal life. But you don't have to peel many emotional layers to find the ongoing anxiety and anger.
Horrendous. I got like a cloud looming over you constantly. It's never really out of your mind. Truthfully, yeah, there's just shy of 700 of us that live here on the camp. It feels like we don't matter at all.
My name is Terry Rumble. I live here on the base.
Like many RAF veteran, Terry has been raising concerns since the very first public meeting last March.
It would be a disaster if we didn't maintain the heritage.
Shambolic. The Home Office have not listened to any of our concerns. Our requests under the Freedom of Information Act just get ignored. They're not interested. They have one agenda, and that is to get the migrants here to Scampton at any cost. And I mean literally any cost. Money is no object.
But for Dad Wayne, finances are a huge deal. He's wanted to sell up and move.
We could take 150 and walk away and make nothing, when we could have walked away in 2022 and made £40,000 or £50,000. And it's just I don't know what the word is for the government just to, that's just lost. We've put cameras up on the house at the minute. Our car insurance has just gone up, the house insurance we've just renewed has just gone up. Where do you find the money? I want out, I want to just run away.
Yeah, so there's more skips outside some of the buildings.
The Home Office appears to be pressing on. There's a statutory duty to house potentially destitute asylum seekers. The message is still that places like Scampton are a better option than hotels.
And Joe is at the base right now. As things stand, are the residents any closer to knowing what the future holds for them and the site?
Well, in short, Peter, no, they're not. And also it feels quite urgent for them because the emergency planning permission the government gave itself runs out next month. They haven't yet put in this new planning permission, this special development order, so they need to do that too. I'm joined now by Trevor Young, who is the leader of West Lindsey District Council. Trevor, what do you know? Where are we at? Is this going to happen?
Well, it's still uncertain, but what we are confident of in terms of a local council is that we will do everything we can to protect this site.
Sir Edward Lee has spoken on the radio earlier today and mentioned a compromise deal. So we'd have a few hundred people here, but we'd also be able to get the regeneration deal started. Is that something that you would go with?
Well, we'd certainly consider a deal, but let's face it, our local MP, Conservative MP, has been complicit around this decision by the Conservative government from day one.
You say he's complicit. He stood up in Parliament, he stood up for the residents, he's argued with the Home Office. Why would you call him complicit in that?
Well, let's face it, the deal was done a long time ago, more than likely in some back bar of the House of Commons, and they picked Scampton purposely, they knowing full well that they expect people to continue to vote Tory if there's a general election.
You're going to continue fighting this, I guess. It's costing a lot of money for you, though. Can you tell us how much West Lindsey have spent?
Well, it's certainly cost us quite a bit of money up to now, but we feel that we're doing the right thing. And the main thing which we want to succeed on is continuing to get this development deal over the line.
Trevor, thank you very much for joining us. That's Councillor Trevor Young, who's the leader of West Lindsey District Council. Now, I know you're going to speak to Sir Edward Lee in just a moment, but you might like to tell him that some of the residents we've spoken to, we've gauged their opinion on his compromise deal. They don't really see how this would work, and having even a few hundred people here for them is still a difficult decision to face.
Joe, thank you very much indeed. Well, as you say, listening to that this evening is the MP for Gainsborough, Sir Edward Lee, who of course covers Scampton. Sir Edward, good evening to you. Good to have you on the programme. You've just been listening. The trouble is local people don't want a compromise deal. They don't want the asylum seekers at the base. Why push something that your constituents don't want?
Well, I don't want any migrants at the base. But the fact is that this has gone on for a year now. Vast amounts of legal money are being wasted on both sides. Ultimately, any government can force its will on a local council. So rather than to hold up the regeneration, which is what we all want, for maybe 3 years, I think it would be better to try and get a compromise by which we get a limited number of migrants in the existing H blocks, well fenced off, with a firm commitment that they won't be allowed onto the former married quarters, and that we immediately get the regeneration up and going. And I've taught them.
And do you think that's actually?
It may or may not happen.
Do you think it's actually realistic? I mean, leave aside at the moment what locals think if they don't want it, but do you think it's realistic to have that compromise deal on the side?
Well, there are all sorts of complex issues around Treasury rules for value for money and land ownership. So I can't promise that I get a compromise, but I think that what we've argued all along over the last year responsibly is we've made no anti-migrant noises. What we have said is the real reason why Scampton should not be used is that it would prejudice £300 million of levelling up in this iconic base. So if we can get that started, if the price of that is a few migrants being placed there, then I would have thought that's worth going for. But I can't promise we're even going to get this compromise. But ultimately, if the government wants to force these migrants on us, there's nothing we can do probably to stop it.
OK. In a way, this is academic, isn't it? Because if you lose the election, and many people think you will, the problem goes away, doesn't it? Because Keir Starmer has said it's the wrong plan and he would scrap it if he gets in. So in a way, if you think...
If you believe that, you believe anything. The fact is, he's not in favour of the Rwanda deal, which is the only way we're going to deter migrants from pouring across the channel. So assuming there's a Labour government next November, just assume that for a moment, they'll pour across the channel, they'll be in hotels all over the country, and you'll have to place them somewhere. And it's just for the birds that he's going to close any base that he's already got migrants in. So we can place no hope in a future Labour government. What I've got to try and do is work for the good of the county and get this regeneration up and running now.
But if people listen and believe what Keir Starmer is saying, people around the Scampton area, they're just going to vote. They're going to vote Labour, aren't they?
Well, they can vote Labour, but I don't think for a moment that the migrant crisis will go away just because there's a Labour government. There's such war and poverty in the world. This country is such a pull factor that you can just cross the channel. 95% of them get given asylum permanently. They get put up in hotels. They're going to keep on pouring in. So any Labour government's got to deal with this problem. What we've got to concentrate on now is to try and get the best and most creative levelling up deal that we've ever had in Lincolnshire in this iconic base. And that's what I'm working night and day to get.
Very good to talk with you, Sir Edward, tonight. Thank you very much indeed for your time.